everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Successful Woman's Mindset TV show. My name is Galit Ventura-Rosen. I am a professional speaker, co-founder of Everyday Woman and the Everyday Woman TV channel, where you are probably more than likely watching that. I love interviewing women that are doing amazing things in their professions, doing what they love, and in their communities. And today I'm excited to have with me Melinda Wittstock. Welcome.
Hey, Galit, it's so good to be with you again because you were such an amazing guest on my podcast.
Yes, tell everybody what your podcast was that I was on.
Yeah, so I have a similar mission to you with my podcast, Wings of Inspired Business, where I have set out to affirm and acclaim the entrepreneurial journeys of very successful women, where we really share transparently what it's actually like the true ups and downs of entrepreneurship, the kind of mindset you need, but also really practical advice about how to grow and scale your business, and really interviewing women across all industries who've been there and built that. So everybody really listening has the toolkit, if you will, at their disposal right from the start. In effect, I launched the podcast I wish I'd had as a 5-time serial entrepreneur in technology and media. So you were an amazing guest, so much so that I read your episode.
It was a fun interview. And one of the things I was telling Melinda before we got started is that I'm so excited to now have on my show all of the different women that have taken the time to interview me on either their podcast or their own shows. So it's really fun that I'm able to kind of turn the tables, right, Melinda?
Oh, I love it. I love that you're doing that because our whole thing is lift as we climb, and that when women really support each other, we all do better. So
yes, for sure. Well, let me tell everybody a little bit about you, and then I'd love to jump right in because today our topic is going to be podcasting, which I love because obviously you're an expert in it, but I think it's so important for our women business community to understand there are so many advantages to having your own podcast as well as being a guest on a podcast. And it'll be fun to kind of hit all of the different angles for them today. All right, here we go. So I'm going to just share a little bit about Melinda. This is way too short of a bio for everything that she's accomplished. We'll jump in and learn a little bit more. But Melinda already mentioned that she's a 5-time serial entrepreneur. I love the word serial entrepreneur because for a lot of us, once we do it once, we tend to just keep doing it. So it's fun that you put that in your bio. That's something I don't put in my bio, and I love that. You've built 4 businesses in media and tech to 7- and 8-figure success. You are now the CEO and founder of, here we go, I'm going to try to give me a shot before you correct me. Podopolo?
Yes.
Yes, I said it. Did I say it right?
Yes, you did.
Okay, great. So you can see that at the bottom of Melinda's name, and we'll be jumping into what that is so you guys can learn. But she's the founder and CEO of Podopolo, the podcast app that makes listening, social, and podcasting profitable for creators. And I love that. I love that you're such a visionary in tech and media. And more than anything, I love that you're a woman doing that, of course. That's my favorite.
There's not a lot of us in tech, right?
That's why I say that, because it's so great that you're doing this.
Well, thank you. It's not without its challenges, but exhilarating at the same time to just dare to go do something big.
Yes, it's fun. It's creative. It's a challenge. A lot of us really love that challenge piece. So let's jump right into podcasting. First and foremost, I have to ask just for a minute, how did you get into podcasting and how did that start for you?
Yeah, so I have a long background in the broadcasting industry and in television and radio, and created huge shows for the BBC, for Financial Times, for CNBC way back before I officially became an entrepreneur. And I was thinking of writing a book about women in business based on my experiences as a tech entrepreneur, trying to raise venture capital money, all these sorts of things. And I started interviewing women. And when I talked to somebody about marketing the book or finding a publisher, she said, well, look, Melinda, you haven't spent any time building your personal brand or really building your social community because you've been heads down on like tech innovation, right? So you need to create the community for your book. So I suggest, given your background, that you do a podcast. So I was like, oh, okay, that's a no-brainer. And I launched the podcast within 6 weeks, and 670 plus episodes now, and still no book. It became, I mean, I think it'll be interesting though, because I have so much material that I can repurpose for the book. So the podcast is essentially helping me write the book when I'm ready for that. But yeah, I love it because it's kind of my, when I interview guests, it's like my own personal mastermind. I learn so much from every woman that I interview. It's a wonderful feeling to promote other women's businesses. And like, so over the years, created so much value in sending business to other women's companies, which is a personal mission of mine. And moreover, I've hired some of my guests, or my guests have hired me.
Yes.
I've created these amazing relationships beyond any just, making money from the podcast or building my brand or, reputation or any of those things. So there's so many benefits from podcasting.
I love that. So if somebody said to you, hey, Melinda, I wouldn't even know where to begin. I have this great idea and I want to do this podcast. And I know that your company does a lot of this and helps people out. So please share that as well, what you offer. But what would you say to them? I don't know where to start. It seems so overwhelming. I'm sure you've heard that before.
Yeah. And a lot of people get caught up on the tech, like what kind of microphone.
Yes.
That's really not the most important thing. And actually, that's the easiest thing. The most important thing is understanding what your message is. What's the transformation you seek in the world as a result of your podcast? Who is it for? Really knowing who your target audience is and how you're going to speak to them, because it's a very intimate medium. And just like in technology, when entrepreneurs say, oh, my product's for everyone, it's not. It's for a specific group of people. So it's very important to know who you're speaking to and why you're speaking to them and what transformation you want to see as a result of your podcast. It may just be that you want to make people laugh and entertain them. It may be that you have something in the world you want to change, or you want to teach people things, or your podcast is lead generation into your existing business. So there are many different formats. So understanding that, understanding how you're going to market to your target audience, right? Like, why will they listen? How will you get them to listen? And that, of course, it's very important to think, I think, earlier than most people do about how they're going to sustain their podcast by monetizing it. Because I've seen so many people, pod fade is the term in the industry, where they start out with tremendous enthusiasm and the content's really good, but they get ground down trying to build an audience, and then they're not making any money, and then they start to sort of resent it, and then, and it doesn't work. So really, when we work with people, we really make sure that they have all that nailed down right out of the gate before they even start producing an episode, because the monetization strategy or the marketing strategy is also going to kind of dictate your format a little bit as well. And everything flows from there.
I love that. That's a really great start for anybody that's listening, just to get started. Let's talk a little bit, because I've got to put this in there, with this being the successful women's mindset. For me, mindset is such a successful piece of just about everything you do. So some of the people that have come to you and said, Melinda, I just don't know if I can do it, but I really want to. And a lot of that is mindset. It's that mindset of them not thinking they could be successful at podcasting. So if we said to you, what are 2 or 3 things that you would say to someone that you said, okay, this is how you can have the successful mindset of a podcaster? What would those be?
Yeah, so much of it is just not understanding, especially as women, our own value. And also just really fundamentally understanding that your voice is your value, that every individual on the planet has a unique perspective. So even if you're in a crowded industry and you may think to yourself, oh gosh, there's so many other people doing the same thing, it's not the same thing, because they're not you. And so really daring to really understand your own value and doubling down on your uniqueness is critical. And for all the people out there that's, like you have to overcome things. Like I remember when I first started broadcasting, I hated the sound of my voice. But my voice, and other people didn't, so it's overcoming that self-consciousness. And really at the end of the day, it's loving yourself enough that you can just be your authentic self, because the more authentic that you are, the more real, the more you're going to have that deep emotional connection with your audience. And that's the thing that grows your audience.
It's so interesting because some of the things that you said, I can directly relate to. I struggled a lot doing public things because of my own voice being naturally hoarse and just a little bit different. And most people say to me, Galit, I don't hear it. And so, right, Melinda, we just had this conversation.
Great.
But I'm so self-conscious of my own voice, especially when it's a little bit more hoarse or I've got a little bit of a cold. Like last night we had a meetup and a lady said that had never met me said, oh, it sounds like you still have a hoarse voice from being sick. And I said, you know what? Naturally, my voice is hoarse. It's just a little more nasally. I think what's helped me and what I've done to help people with their mindset related to their self-consciousness of their own voice or hearing themselves speak is it's not about you.
Oh,
and right, Melinda?
100%. And thank you for saying that, because it's really about your service to your audience in the case of your podcast, or your customers in the case of your business. And when you can, and I think this is so important for women, especially when we can remove ourselves from that. And I think we're naturally wired to be in service anyway. And it's right, it's not about you.
Yeah. So for me, my biggest thing is, it's not really about you. I always share, because one of my businesses is brick and mortar commercial real estate. I can be on the phone meeting people all day long and not be doing any of this and be just fine. It's not about that. It's about the fact that women like you and I, and a lot of my guests, are about inspiring, empowering. You are in a place where I got to get more women on podcasting. I got to show them that it's possible. I got to show them that their voice and their value is important, that somebody can learn from them. So when we wrap our head around the fact that it's not about us, and the ironic thing is a lot of us are not self-centered or ego-driven anyways. Exactly. So when we really sit down and stop and say, it's not about me, it's about that one woman or that one man or that one person, everything changes. And that's what's helped me. And that tends to be something that's really helped. And I also love that you said authentic and genuine. One of the main things that I have noticed is when people are being themselves, that's when they come across to the most people and make the biggest impact. So I love that.
Even just daring to be vulnerable. I mean, I think that's one of the things that I aspire to do with the Wings podcast, is allow women the space to talk about what it's really like being an entrepreneur. Those moments where, your hypothesis is just wrong, or you have these little fails, or you can't make payroll, or I don't know, like all the different things that happen that you can't control. And, really how we develop the confidence and the resilience as entrepreneurs, really double down on the curiosity to continue to innovate, and the relationship and all the different things that are required of you as an entrepreneur, and to be able to share that with vulnerability.
Real challenges, real everyday challenges we deal with in a business. We're not here to butter it up. We're not here to tell you it's a clean ride. I love that you're doing that. I love that you're sharing those things, because that's the reality. These people have this dream of being an entrepreneur and don't always understand the back end of being successful. So it's so great that you're doing that, and that anybody that decides. And I know we didn't have a lot of time to touch on being a podcast guest, but one of the things I would love real quick before we talk a little bit about your company is I would love for you to share the advantages of being a podcast guest, because there's just so many as well.
So many. I mean, if you have a business and the more podcasts you're on, it's a really great opportunity for people to get to know you. And business runs on relationships. So being a guest on as many podcasts as possible is really, really great. I think from the perspective of where you're going to add value to that podcast, you're going to be a very successful guest if, when you're talking to the podcaster, you're getting to know who their audience is and how you're going to be really relevant to their particular audience. So just as a podcast host, guest, same thing. How are you serving the audience? And if you're thinking of launching a podcast, it's a really great thing to just get your feet a bit wet as a guest first. And there's so many PR agencies and specialists that really focus on, getting your one sheet together and like presenting you and doing all that legwork to get you on a lot of podcasts. So I love guesting on podcasts. I try and do it as much as possible. I just enjoy the conversation, and it's fun. It's just fun.
It is. And it's a great way to market yourself. And one of the things that I share is it's not always about being a guest on the TV show or the podcast. That's enough. It's about what do you do with it once you are. Yes. For example, right, Melinda, you're a guest, and then I'm going to make sure that it gets on our TV channel on the 19 platforms. And I also put it on my podcast as well. So I do both. So I just double up. And now I'm presenting you with a graphic, and I'm presenting you with the links, and then you do your thing, because it shows you as a credible authority when you're out there sharing all over your email, your social media, your website, all of my podcasts. Your podcast is on my website and will never leave my website. Any show I've ever been on. So what I really want to put across is that you've got to take the advantage of the opportunity and milk it in a sense yourself.
100%. It's great when everybody promotes, because by having you as a guest on the podcast, that podcast host is really doing you a solid, right? I mean, they're getting the word out about you. So it's really important to return the favor, give a positive review to the podcaster, on Apple or wherever you listen to your podcast, including hopefully Podopolo, and all around, but promoting it, because it's in your interest to do so. You want as many people as possible to hear your amazing interview that was on that. And so everybody is winning in this scenario.
When everyone's working together, it's such a win. I was a guest on yours. Now you're a guest on mine, and it just all works really nice together. I'd love to spend the last few minutes talking about your company, Podopolo. Please share with everybody the great opportunity that you offer for someone that goes, oh my gosh, I have nowhere to start. I don't know what to do. How do I make this a success? As well as share with them how they can learn more and where they can go to do that.
Fantastically. Thank you. So Podopolo is really innovating what we call podcasting 3.0. It's fully socially interactive. So for listeners and viewers, they can take the conversation further by connecting with hosts and each other to put learning into action in their lives, and just really, have meaningful conversation around it in a way that's time-saving and convenient. It's also the only platform that actually personalizes your listening experience around what actually interests you, so you can more easily discover the podcasts that you really care about by virtue of your interests, what inspires you, what inspires your friends. And in creating that personalization, it's helping the podcaster as well, because you can think about it in a way as sort of matchmaking technology in behind here, where we're connecting the right listeners to the right podcasts and help podcasts be more easily discovered. So say when you're on Apple, you see all the same podcasts all the time. It's very difficult to discover new podcasts. So what we're finding on Podopolo is people are spending a good deal more time listening and sharing and discussing, because they're finding podcasts that are relevant to them that they didn't know about. That's good for the podcaster, because we also set out to really make sure that the podcaster could increase their reach, increase their engagement, and finally get paid for their podcasting. We place advertising on the podcast, and they can also use a subscription model as well to upsell premium content, courses, merchandise, whatever it is. So kind of, if you think of us as this intersection of podcasting, the fastest growing media of all time, with the creators economy, where creators are finally getting paid their due, with social media, but advancing social media by making the conversation a lot more meaningful, a lot more relevant, without all the, I guess, some of the negatives that we've seen about social. So that's what Podopolo is.
So where can they learn more, and how can they find out how to get involved?
Yeah, fantastic. So podopolo.com. Also, the app is available for free in either the Apple or the Google Play Store. So super simple. Just download it, create an account, start listening, start connecting with friends. And if you're a podcaster already, your podcast is already on Podopolo. We have a proprietary ingest engine that means that we have 4.5 million podcasts, both in audio and video, that are just automatically there. And when you come onto Podopolo with a podcast, you'll be asked to just verify your ownership of it. And that's what starts to unlock all the benefits for podcasters, including all the AI-driven audience insights. You can get to know your audience a lot better than you can anywhere else. And revenue generating capacity, and also our cross promotion and all the other things that we do to really, grow your downloads, grow your reach, grow your engagement.
Perfect. And on the website, if they want to get in touch with your business and your company, I'm assuming it's really easy to do so.
It's all there. And I'm easily found, on social media as well. So Podopolo is Podopolo on Instagram, on Facebook and Twitter. It's Podopolo Network, Podopolo on LinkedIn. And my name, I'm sort of ubiquitous, I guess, on social media. So it's easy to find us.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Melinda. I love that you shared all of that information. I myself am going to get off the call with us today. Off the interview, and I'm going to download it because I don't have it on my phone. I'm excited to check it out myself.
Yeah, it would be great. Yeah. And Galit, we'll add you as soon as you do that. We'll add you as a guest to the episode as it's listed on Podopolo, where you can interact with people and they can ask you questions. And it really helps to with that commenting engine around the podcast. Really helps to grow your business as well.
I'm excited to check it out myself. Anybody that is watching or listening, make sure to check out podopolo.com. Is it .com just to make sure?
Yes, podopolo.com.
Okay. Yeah. So many different extensions today, I have to ask. And we will make sure to have all of the information as well. So that way those that are watching or listening can grab it as well. Thank you for being with me today, Melinda. It was
Pleasure.
So great. It's never long enough. We know already it's never long enough. We can keep doing this more and more. I appreciate everybody that's watching and listening on the Everyday Woman TV platform, as well as listening in the podcast on iTunes. My name is Galit Ventura Rosen, and this is the Successful Women's Mindset TV show and podcast. And I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye.